Hello everyone, my name is the Chemist77 and welcome to episode 26 of Farming Minecraft. Today we're going to be continuing with a few tree farms after our world tour we did last episode. So if you haven't watched any of the videos and you want a brief catch up on what I've done so far in the world, then do check that video out. But yeah, today we are going to be doing nether tree farms, and I've already built one up just over there, as you can see. See the door going occasionally. So the nether trees are quite difficult to blow up because unlike what we have with regular tree farms where we can just crush the leaves, the warped blocks that you get, so you can see the one I've built up already is for warped trees. You can't crush the warp blocks, you have to break them, which means to harvest these trees we need to use TNT, and obviously the difficulty with that is TNT will destroy items. So what we have to do is we have to blow it from the bottom up. Now if I turn this on from being somewhere, we should be able to see how the farm works. So we grow a tree here, and I'll show you how we grow the tree later. And there we go. So this ancient debris and any stone gets pushed out like so, which creates a little channel for the TNT to fall down. I'll see if I can wait for a larger one to grow. As you can see, sometimes some items do get lost if they land on the trapdoors here. It'll take a little while to move across, but for the most part it works really well. Now of course well, I can turn that to turn it off. Of course there are two types of nether tree. There are also crimson trees, and that is why we need two farms. So basically to grow these trees you need a fungus on the correct nylium blocks. This here is warped nylium, of course, for warped fungi. And whilst both types of fungus, so warped and crimson fungus, will generate on both types of nylium, so they'll both generate on warped and they'll both generate on crimson, you can only bone meal the large trees on the correct type of nylium. So warped trees will only grow on warped nylium and crimson will only grow on crimson. Hence why we need two different farms. Now, this is a design by Razeworks, so I'll leave a link to his description in the video. He explains much better detail on sort of some of the intricacies of this farm, such as how all of these targa blocks here work with the nylium, because sometimes the nylium will immediately turn into netherrack when the tree grows on top, and so you need to rebone meal that, and it explains a lot more around some of the redstone here. But for now I need to, not there, turn that placement on, turn my rendering on, and get building this one. So naturally it is time for a time lapse. And we're done. and I have to apologise for that random jump cut in the middle. I had paused replay mod whilst I filled the dispensers and hoppers with bone meal, because there's a lot and it takes a little bit of time, and then I forgot to resume it again until I suddenly realised I didn't. So I do apologise about that, but we do now have a matching farm, and it's all nice and mirrored. How very nice. Look kind of like a pair of trousers. Anyway, there is a couple last things to do on this. Chiefly being, need to set the TNT dupers up. So we're going to make 3 minecarts. Like so. And then if we head up here, basically what we need is a minecart right there. The problem is if we put the detector rail down and the minecart on top, it will immediately update this TNT, which will cause it to ignite, and then bad things will happen. I have taken a backup of the world just in case bad things do happen, but to prevent the TNT from updating, what we can do is place the minecart and the rail in here and then just push it in with a piston. Like so. And then turn the light levels off. If we go up to the next one, whoops. If we go up to the next one, we can do the same thing again. Oh no. Alright. As I was saying, if we do this all the way up, we can now prime all 3 TNT dupers. Now, let's not touch anything else here from now on. And, oh dear, we should be able to turn it on after I've just checked something, which, yep, these should be here. Same with these. Now, to turn it on, we need to come somewhere around here. Here we go. And flick this lever and press that button. And hopefully we should see trees grow. We're not seeing trees grow. Why are we not seeing trees grow? Oh, that's why we're not seeing trees grow. Hang on, let me just do some troubleshooting quickly. Okay, troubleshooting done. It's the budding of this redstone block on this piston here. That's the issue. Now, I should be able to turn the farm on and it should work. So, let's try this again. And flick the lever, press the button, turn my rendering off because things are going to go crazy. And we should see it working. It will be a little bit weird at first. Because it needs to cycle through some things a bit. But we should eventually see something happen. Here we go. Things are happening now. There we go. Just a few issues with how I set the farm up. Anyway, now we can see what we saw over there with the warped trees. This time with the crimson trees, and as you probably would have gathered, this farm can be a little bit temperamental sometimes. I'm quite low on hunger. Let's just heal up a little bit. So, what is happening? Well, like I said before, go check out Razorworks' video. He explains it much better than I'm about to. But basically, we have an observer clock here that will set these dispensers off. Now, these dispensers will bone meal what appears here. So any fungi that appear will get bone mealed, like that one just there. But to get the fungi on the top here, we need to actually physically bone meal these nylium blocks. And that is what these dispensers here are for. Now, we only use this middle one because we only need to, because bone meal happen, or bone mealing nylium happens in a sort of 5x5 square around the central block. So we've got 2 at either side. The reason we have these dispensers here is on the very extraordinarily rare case that in the exact same tick a tree grows, the block gets random ticked, which turns it back to netherrack. Should that happen, we just get a pulse from one of these observers, which just pops this target block up, which then bone meals the nylium again, or the netherrack, turning it back to nylium. And then as the tree grows, it then gets detected, so the clock turns off, and it will send a pulse up this length, which pushes the blocks out like this, which allows the TNT to fall down, and then this blows everything up from the bottom upwards. Now there's some interesting block choices in here, which you may be wondering. The first of which is what on earth is with these random floating fence gates. So these are here because the TNT explosions won't actually reach these blocks. So any wart blocks that grow here won't get blown up, and it's not terrible, but it's not ideal because it means that we could potentially have other blocks land on here and get blown up, and that will affect the rates. The other interesting choice is ancient debris. So there's 19 ancient debris in each of these farms, which is, yeah, interesting. But there is this very specific reason we're using ancient debris, and that is because it is one of, I believe, 2 movable blast-proof blocks. Now, why don't we use the other one? Well, the other one is a netherite block, which would not make sense to use instead of this. So we have to use ancient debris, and like I said, that pushes the blocks out, which allows the TNT to fall straight down. We also have an interesting assortment of jukeboxes, ender chests, and what are these called? Brewing stands here. This is all to do with weird collection system mechanism. So the ender chests here, these are blast proof, but they are less than a full block, so any items that land on here will still get picked up by the collection system, but they won't get blown up by the TNT. These brewing stands here are similar to lag reduction for composters in that they have an inventory, etc. However, their hitbox shape means that any items that land sort of here can still get sucked up by the hopper that's underneath the ender chest. They won't get sucked up by this hopper because this is our bone meal line, which then goes into all the dispensers here. And we have jukeboxes here. Again, it's to do with blast resistance and funky things like that. But yeah, that is a very brief and incomplete method or explanation on how the farm works. Actually, one other thing I will mention is any roots and stuff that get broken on here get picked up by these hoppers, or get picked up by the hopper minecarts first, and then distributed into these hoppers, and then into this composter, which just sends the bone meal back up and round in a similar way to the bone meal that comes from here. Now this bone meal comes from the collection system, so this farm will actually is self-sufficient. So the wart blocks that we get actually get run through into these composters, and then the bone meal from that gets run down here and then back into the system. The logs and the shroomlights in both farms, that is, will pass over here through these hoppers and get collected through the item sorter. I'm going to turn this farm off because that TNT is going to get very annoying. Speaking of the TNT, once these last ones fall, there we go. Oh wait, hang on. There we go. We have 3 TNT Jupers at different heights. Now that is obviously because we need to blow the nether trees up from the bottom upwards. However, you get different heights of nether trees. I can't remember the exact max height. Somewhere here-ish. But not every time will all the Jupers go off. That is because the tallest of the nether trees are very unlikely to grow. So we don't need to do this one up the top here quite so much. So what we do instead is use this mechanism to alternate when we use each TNT tuber. So this one will get used every time, this one every other time, and then this one every 8th time, I believe it is. Yes, every 8th time. And so that helps keep the rates up because we're not waiting for all of the TNT tubers to go when we're only trying to blow up a tree that's like that height. I also added in some shroomlights on the side here, just so we don't get endermen spawning on top of any bits that get left over from when I turn the farm off. I've actually not got any leftover bits this time, which is interesting. I think there is another section like these fence gates somewhere like here-ish, but it's not too much of a problem because it's right at the top of the farm. But yeah, that is our nether tree farm, and I can turn them both on and we can see them both working at once. And yeah, here we go. We can see all the trees getting blown up, and I think let's get a good thumbnail here. Let's pop our shaders on if I can remember what hotkey it is. I believe it's that one. There we go. A little bit of a insight into how I make my thumbnails. Shaders on, FOV down. And then we can find the angle. There we go. Let's turn the shaders off before my fans ramp up. But yeah, that will do it for today. We have netherwoods farmed as well as shroomlights as well, which I am very pleased with. I'm going to move this way a bit so I aren't quite being interrupted by the TNT. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Do like the video if you did like it, and subscribe if you want to see more. Like I said, if you want a brief rundown of everything I've done so far, then check out the world tour I did last episode. And yeah, I also stream over on Twitch, and which brings me to my next point, I guess, is that I now have a VODs YouTube channel up. So if you're unable to catch my live streams when I am live, so I'll often stream in the morning, UK time, which I know for people like living in the US or Canada or whatever, it's not ideal. So if you do want to catch the live streams, that'll be over on my second channel, which will be linked below, called the Chemist 77 VODs. I thought the Chemist 77 2 wouldn't really work. But yeah, I also have just started playing some of the new No Man's Sky update. So if you want to see me play some other games in the future on there, then that'll all be on there. I will be keeping this channel purely as a Minecraft channel, but every now and then I might stream some other games. So yeah, but that will do it for today's video. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time for our last tree farm, the mangrove farm. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Bye!